Hello, welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. I'm April Perry. Today we're talking about 5 positive psychology hacks that really work. And I wasn't sure to call them hacks or solutions, ideas, secrets. I don't know, I was trying to figure out the best word. Basically, it's 5 things I learned from reading Martin Seligman's book, Flourish. It's an amazing book. And I've actually started putting these specific ideas into practice in my life, and they work beautifully. I can't wait to share them with you. Now, if you knew that there were a handful of simple, specific things that were scientifically proven to help you feel happier and more connected to the people in your life, would you do them? Okay. And that's what these are. I'm just going to walk through these really actionable ideas, and I'm just enjoying them so much. And I know that we all want to feel good, but sometimes when we get suggestions like think positive or be grateful, we don't really know how to make that happen. Like, okay, I'm trying, but how do I actually make a difference in my life because I did that thing? And so I will just share a little bit more about what positive psychology is, and then we'll jump into these 5 suggestions from the book Flourish. So this is a quote. It's on page 20 of the paperback, but it says that if you were to take positive psychology and boil it down to 2 words other than positive psychology, what would those 2 words be? Okay. And the response is other people. And then here's a direct quote from the book. Other people are the best antidote to the downs of life and the single most reliable up. Scientists have found that doing a kindness produces the single most reliable momentary increase in well-being of any exercise they have tested. Okay, I love that. Doing a kindness. We can do that, right? So here is suggestion number 1 from the book that I loved. Find one wholly unexpected kind thing to do tomorrow and just do it, and then notice what happens to your mood. One of the suggestions I shared was a story. It was a man went to the post office and he bought a whole bunch of stamps. And I forget what the issue was with the stamps, but anyway, he decided that he was going to give them out to everyone after he bought them. So he just had all these stamps and said, "Hey, free stamps, who wants free stamps?" And he starts giving them out and everyone's so excited. And he just felt so happy. All right, so that was one little story. So I don't just want to talk about these ideas, though, as theoretical ideas. I want to share how we would make them happen using our system or our command central. So, for example, if you're thinking, I want to do unexpected kindnesses more often in my life, you could create a weekly routine or a bi-weekly routine, put that actually on the routines list to remind you to do it. Now, remember that when we put things on our routines list, we review that list weekly during our weekly review. We don't have to do everything on the routines list, every day, week, month, etc. But when we're establishing a habit, we may want to add calendar reminders and really, focus on it. Otherwise, we might just have a list of routines that are kind of options for our multiple choice perfect day that we speak about here on the podcast as well. And regarding these nice things that we do for people that are wholly unexpected, sometimes they could line up with people's birthdays. So I do like having my friends' birthdays on my calendar. So I remember to check in or send a little text or sing a little birthday song or something like that. You also might just have a goal sheet that you review each day. I keep a list in Evernote that I call daily reminders. And maybe I don't look at it every single day, but most days I can go in and just look at the things I'm trying to remember. Being kind, being deliberate, having more faith, things like that. You also could create a current project on your current projects list to really do something maybe on a larger scale to focus on others, to do something completely unexpected, surprise someone, take some donations to a local care center. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we can do to show more love. But I really appreciate the opportunity to serve and help others and also help my own mood and my own mental health to improve. It's just awesome, right? That as we strengthen the world, we feel stronger. All right, suggestion number 2, or hack number 2, we want to call it that, is to read a gratitude letter out loud. So essentially, you just do what it says. You write a letter to someone that's really made a difference in your life, and then you call them and say, either can I meet with you on video to read this out loud to you, or could I come in person and read it to you? Now, this sounds a little weird at first, and it sounds a little uncomfortable, but I will say, and I haven't done this one yet, but I did have it done to me one time. I guess the same topic or the same suggestion was taught in a class here at our local university. And so there was a student who lived in our neighborhood, and she sent me a message one day and said, hey, we have this assignment to read a gratitude letter out loud to someone, and I picked you, and I wrote you a letter. Could we set up a time when I could read it to you? And so we actually did a video call, and she got on the video and just read this beautiful letter. It was very simple. It was just that I'd made some comments at church that had impacted her, and she appreciated it and just wanted to thank me for that. And it just was like so touching to have someone actually read to you something they'd written. And I just thought, okay, this is something I need to do as well. So using the Command Central, you could put this on your next actions list, maybe in the home or computer category to write the letter. It wouldn't take long. It doesn't have to be something huge. And then you would text the person, maybe 2-minute rule, say, can I drop by and read this? Or can we do a call and I can read it out loud to you? Something like that. But I love that. It was really, really special. All right, suggestion number 3 is at the end of the night, have a just little time where you sit still and you ask yourself, what are 3 things that went well today and why? And I love the focus, first of all, on the things that went well, because we can always find 3 things that went well, even if they're tiny. And then I love that we ask why, because it gets our brain thinking, how could we replicate this in the future? So using the Command Central, you could add it to a nightly routine to ask these 3 questions, or ask, what are 3 things that went well? And it's just a nice little way to go to bed at night. And I've heard this from multiple people. This is an awesome strategy. So let's try it. Let's do this. Okay. All right. Suggestion number 4 is celebrate with your people. So this was fascinating to me. They were talking about how, especially in a marriage, couples are often taught how to fight better. Here's how you can disagree. Here's how you can, listen to each other. Here's ways you can articulate when you're upset. And I think those skills are awesome. They've been super helpful to me because I was afraid of conflict for my whole life. And now I'm able to learn how to communicate better and, quote, fight better. Not really fighting, but having these discussions. But they actually, in the book Flourish, it was talking about how they've actually found, when I say they, so I don't know exactly who was doing the study, but they found that when you learn how to celebrate really well with your spouse, that's actually more powerful for keeping the relation strong than just learning how to fight better. So you think, well, what does this mean? Okay, so imagine that your spouse comes home and says, hey, I just got this new promotion. Or, hey, I just found this new book at the store. I'm really excited about it. Something, okay? So they're excited about something. So there's either positive or negative responses, and there's like passive or active responses. The worst is a negative active response where you say something like, let's say they found a book at the store. Well, you didn't have the money to buy it. You probably won't read it anyway. Okay, so negative, but you're like actively fighting them on it. The best is positive active, where you say, oh my goodness, that's amazing. I'm glad you're so excited about it. Tell me what led you to pick that one out, or tell me why you got that promotion, or how'd they deliver it to you, or, how'd you find out? Like you ask some question that invites them to share more and shows that if they're excited, you're excited. Now, if they're excited about something like, hey, I just spent all the money that we'd saved up for new tires and I got a new stereo, like, okay, you're probably going to need to have a budget conversation, but you don't necessarily need to have it at that moment. You can listen, you can ask questions, you can find out why they're so excited. Maybe. I don't know if it applies in that situation. I'm guessing it still does in some way. But I like the idea of genuinely celebrating and being excited. And I found that for me as a wife, that Eric just wants to know that I care about him and I care about the things that he cares about. Like if he's gone through something that's hard, he wants me kind of listening and like reflecting his emotions with my facial expressions. He's very communicative. And so I find if I'm just like sitting there making no facial expressions, he thinks I don't care. But I need to be like listening and like reflecting to him how he's feeling and feeling that with him. That makes a big difference. And I'm the same way, where if I'm talking about something and he's like scrolling his phone, I'm like, are you listening to me? Like, do you care what I'm talking about? Anyway, I love this idea of celebrating together. And this might be something, Command Central wise, that we put on a goals list to be more aware and more alert to celebrate with our loved ones. All right, and then suggestion number 5 is to improve our ratio of positive to negative statements. Okay, this one was fascinating to me because they said that they've done the actual studies and the numbers and found that if a company has 2.9 to 1 positive to negative, that company will flourish. I think it's funny. It's not 3 to 1. It's 2.9 to 1. Okay. But then they also said, but not in a marriage. In a marriage, it needs to be 5 positive to 1 negative. And I think that applies probably to our children too. So I've been working more on the 5 to 1. Like anytime I have something kind of like critical or something I might say that's not like super kind, then I try to have at least 5 things that are really kind. But then the other fascinating thing was they said, but if you have more than 13 to 1 positive to negative, it's actually really bad because then the person doesn't trust you because you're like being too nice. So I was like, okay, so be nice, but not too nice. Anyway, I thought 5 to 1 was kind of good. So I've actually been making a concerted effort with our teenage son, with Eric, with people in my life to really focus on the things that I love that they're doing and articulate that and tell them. So anyway, these things are fairly easy, right? Like they're not super hard, but these methods or hacks or secrets, or suggestions, I believe they really work, and I encourage you to give them a try and use your Command Central to help you make these things happen. It's so fun. And even though we're not like here together in the same room right now, I'm sitting by myself in my podcast room recording. You're listening. I don't know where. I don't know what you're doing, but I hope that you're having a great day. But I still feel like we have built an amazing community here. So when I think about other people, being the source of positive psychology, I feel so much of that here at Learn to Become. I watch you encourage each other in the Facebook groups. I hear your stories of what you're doing in your homes and families and communities, the broader world and your businesses. Like I'm just so grateful to have you as part of my life. And I do feel like we have a relationship, even though I know it's like this isn't optimal. It'd be better if we were all just like neighbors and hanging out in the cul-de-sac. But I'm so, so grateful for you. So, all right. I hope that this has been something fun for you to listen to today and that you will go read the whole book, Flourish. It's so good. And if you are not yet in our Arise membership, we talk about these kinds of things often, going deeper, and not just organization, but how do we strengthen our families? How do we strengthen our mental health, our physical health, our finances, right? How do we draw closer to our higher power? How do we actually build this life where we wake up excited and go to bed content? I'm just so excited about the things that are coming in Arise. We are putting a lot of energy into building that community, and this is like my life's work with Eric. We love it so much. So whether you are a stepper or an ariser or just enjoying being a Learn to Becomer for now, we're grateful for the good that you're doing each day and hope to continue to encourage you and give you that support. All right, have an amazing day, and we'll see you soon at learntobecome.com.